Hello everyone and welcome to Final Fantasy 15. This game was just released this week, and I've been playing a little bit through again. Like, I have a job that takes up a lot of my time, so I don't really get to play often. But this is just kind of my first impressions. Now, to um, kind of speed things along, I'm actually in chapter 2 right now, and I'm at the point where I am basically collecting these unique weapons called Royal Arms. Not to kind of spoil anything about everything that happened in chapter 1 or see a lot of the narrative things. Um, so I've already collected the first Royal Arm, and now there's another tomb nearby for me to collect the second one. So that's kind of where I am at. Um, Looks like I'm heading to the Keecherich Trench, but kind of talk a little bit about Final Fantasy and my relationship with the series. Is that I've been a Final Fantasy fan back when, back from Final Fantasy VI, which when I played it on the Super Nintendo, it was Final Fantasy III. Um, and I got hooked on that game because one of my friends at the time, Chris, he was playing it, and Final Fantasy VI had the option where two people could play together, and you can kind of choose like which characters you can play with. Um, so we did that, and just playing that game with him, and in at a sleepover for about a couple of hours, I was just impressed with it. Um, so with that being said, I remember for my birthday, I went and I bought Final Fantasy VI for the Super Nintendo and played it, and even had my friends come over and they would play it with me, especially when we got towards the end with the final boss against Kafka. Um, and I remember that we would rotate because we would get our butts kicked. Um, so then we rotate. It was my friend Steve and my friend Tony. So then I'd play and Tony would play and we'd lose. Then Steve and Tony would play. Well, then when me and Steve were playing, we're doing it. We finally got to the final form of Kafka, and I remember playing it, and then you can just hear that music stop and that like lightning crack sound effect that we beat him. And I remember just me and my friend Steve were like cheering, jumping up and down, hugging each other because it was such an accomplishment, because we basically spent almost 6 hours trying to beat this guy and doing a rotation thing. Um, but yeah, it was really cool, and ever since then, like every single Final Fantasy game I have bought, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10-2. I didn't do any of the MMORPGs, so I didn't do 11. I bought 12, played that. 13, I did 13. 13-2, I didn't do Lightning Returns. I just, at that point, I didn't have enough money to buy games, so I didn't buy that one. And then obviously I switched to Xbox One. So hopefully, if Lightning Returns becomes a backwards compatible game for the Xbox One, I will definitely purchase that, since now I could probably purchase them brand new for relatively cheap to have the series. So that's my thing right now, Final Fantasy V. I'm enjoying, so let's just go ahead and dive right into the game. And again, if you have any questions about certain aspects, certain things that you can do, what you can't do, and most of you who are probably watching this, you probably already played Final Fantasy 15, own it, so you really don't have a lot of questions. But for those of you who maybe are new to the series, you don't understand a lot of these things, even some of these little tiny things that us long-time fans have been are able to just be like, wow, like, oh, that's cool, I didn't pick up on that. Of course, one of the cool things is when you're driving around the car and you can listen to the radio and you can select like some of the songs from past Final Fantasies, the soundtrack. So that's always fun to listen to. Still trying to hopefully find a store that sells the Final Fantasy VI soundtrack, because I love listening to that music. I think I actually have a CD of just all the music that Square at the time SquareSoft was pushing out these CDs of the Final Fantasy VI music, and it was just incredible. And I think I actually spent money. I think it was like almost $120. It was like a 4-disc set. I think with the digital age and me just having digital copies of all my music, I think I actually got rid of the CDs, which now I'm kind of thinking that was a bad move because that's probably worth some money. All right. So here we are. This is the, oh, yep. So here's the trench. So we're in a dungeon. So you have these 4 friends of yours, and each friend has their own unique weapons and fighting styles.
Let there be light. Here we go.
Right now you can't play them. You can only play Noctis, which is who I'm controlling right now, who is the prince.
Look!
There's a door.
What is this place?
It appears to have been a shelter.
People lived here?
Those seeking refuge from war, most likely.
Wars. Huh. What are they good for? Wonder if anyone's still living here.
And sometimes they get in your way and you just have to kind of push through, which I guess in this aspect is kind of good, because if they do get in your way, you're kind of like, you can push through them and they move,
this?
not like other NPCs
Wonder where
where
it leads.
They can follow it and see.
where they kind of stay there and you can't move past them.
A generator?
So it would appear.
Might still run. Starter. Sweet, it works!
Oh, then there was light.
Oh man, I do love me some light.
One of the interesting things, and again, I'm still early in the game, but one of the interesting things is the thing with treasures is that, like, you can see that little icon in front of me. That's really a treasure. It's just like things that are on the ground, not like other places where you open up treasure chests or do anything like that, or open up some drawers and do all that. You're kind of in that place where you just keep moving and just pick up these random items.
That?
My bad. Kick the can.
You are killing me here, big guy. Are you trying to give me a heart attack or something? If it's all the same to you guys, I'd rather not get buried alive.
Yeah, let us be quick.
Alright, nothing there.
I hate that noise.
What?
I can feel eyes on us. The second we turn our backs, bam!
Quit being a wuss.
I'm going to go ahead and pause my microphone because my son's coming down to say hi to me and
Did you see that? No good. It's locked. Hello? Anybody home? I'm coming in. Ever wonder if people, like, died here, and their tormented souls just sorta remained behind? Maybe this one? I don't know.
Whatever it is, it's playing with us.
Hey, wait.
What?
Need to brace for... Okay. I'm gonna count to 3. On 3, you open the door. Got it? All right. Okay. Here I go. 1, 2, 3! Locked. Don't bother, Noct. It won't open. It came from there. What is it now? Huh?
What is it?
That wasn't there before.
Nope.
On you now. Eyes peeled, mouth closed.
Alright, so sorry about that everyone, but right now we are just initiated our first boss battle, or first battle with goblins. So kind of talk a little bit about how fighting works. So circle, or you just kind of go and you attack people, and each person kind of moves on their own, and obviously it was done. Pretty easy fight.
Yep.
So yeah, you kind of fight, and then right down here, if you look at the lower right-hand corner, there's like different weapons. Noctis has the power to use a lot of different weapons. So right now I have a sword, but then I can use a javelin, some daggers, and then here's one of the royal arms that I picked up, the first royal arm, which I have to be careful because anytime when you use a royal arm, I don't know if it's all the royal arms, but specifically this royal arm depletes your HP when you use it. So, but it's also very powerful too. So there's kind of a good trade-off with that. Excuse me. And let's go ahead and go to the menu real quick. So here's the menu. You kind of see everyone standing there, and you have your quest, you have your map, which right now is kind of looking at the dungeon map, seeing everywhere I went so far. What other's nice too is sometimes if you look, if you can see some of the shaded stuff when you're out in the basically when you're out in the open world, you have options where you can return to your last rest point that you stayed at. You can return to your car. You can actually tow your car if it breaks down. You can have your car summoned to wherever you're at. And especially being in the cave, you can actually return to the entrance. Which I guess some of it's very helpful because if you want to try to get to your rest point to level up, which I'll explain that a little bit. You can do that. Then you have your quests, which kind of talk about all your quests that you have right now. Have some side quests, but here's the main quest that I'm on. Gear, and here's kind of the thing when I'm talking about Noctis, that he has all these different weapons, and he can actually choose 4. Where if you go to, like, go to Gladius here, like, he can only use 2 weapons, and you can kind of see he has just those 2 weapons. Also, oh, this is a technique, and you can actually change his techniques from being the Tempest to Downhammer. And as you can see, his level had been already maxed out, so I'm working on a new type of leveling up some of his techniques. Same thing with some of the other characters that have techniques, and then you have his blades. He can only use great swords, so that's his main primary weapon. we can equip a secondary weapon, which would be a shield or a spell, and then you have accessories, and each character has their own thing. The Ascension, this is nice because this is kind of like a skill builder for everybody, and you have different things like combat, teamwork, stats. You have a thing called weight mode, which I'll explain weight mode in a little bit, or magic, and usually you have AP, which I have 0 right now, but each of them you can level up, and they each have certain things. Especially when you get to like technique, you can see like this is like kind of Gladius's thing. Noctis is up here, so each, and the cool thing is some of these techniques, if they're not specific, like if they're not necessarily specific, then they're actually open for all. Like again, like the stat setting, you know, this is for Gladys, that's for Noctis, but like, oh, here we go. But right here, see all the characters are highlighted, so this benefits all the characters. So sometimes you can level up a bunch of guys at once, and then you have certain skills, and each one has their own certain skills. Like Noctis is fishing, so that's his special skill. Survival, and that's kind of his special skill, so he has certain things where he can heal. Cooking, and really the whole cooking thing is whenever you guys camp out or sleep, not in a hotel but actually out in the wilderness, Ignis will actually make food for you. And then you have photography, which I don't know, kind of think it's a pointless skill, but it's kind of cool. But then going back to your Ascension skills, there's things where when Prompto takes pictures, you can actually gain AP, and it's actually nice because even through playing this on the PlayStation and the communities, there's a community where you can post pictures and make comments on it. So it's kind of a more of a sharing social thing that you're doing. And then Elemency, and this is kind of interesting because you have magic that you can do, and the way magic works is you basically select an open spot and you pick a spell, lightning, ice, and then you kind of move its potency. So you're kind of increasing it, and you can increase it all and go like 99, and you can have a potency of 109, and that's kind of its power, but you only have 3 uses of Blizzard. So then you can go down and craft it and equip, which I'm not going to, I'll just leave that alone. But you have all these different things, and you can do the same thing with fire, which I should probably just deplete it all just because I'm picking up more points to get to store. And then lightning. And the nice thing about these spells is you can equip them on your main character, or you can equip them to some of your side characters. So that's kind of nice too, especially if you're fighting a boss that's weak against a certain spell. It's nice to kind of equip one of those onto another person, or you can kind of lower the potency and be able to make 3 separate things of like ice and then use them against a boss. So we'll go ahead and use that, and then you have items and archives, which are just records of your journey. And then that's the other thing, if you look at the screen, you see that says experience, like 1,727. The way you level up is you'll gain all this experience and you'll gain this AP, but in order for you to be able to use some of these things, you actually have to go camping and rest. And when you rest, then your experience will actually go, and that's how you level up. So it's not very like a traditional role-playing game or Final Fantasy game where you go out, you fight, once you gain enough experience, you level up. You can have a bunch of experience and still stay at a level 16 and not level up because you're not sleeping. But the game kind of in a way forces you to sleep, because at night the enemies are a lot more fiercer. And I had a situation where I was just kind of running, and got evening, I was trying to run to my camp, and I engaged a battle, and there was just this huge monster that just came out of nowhere and just started like basically one-hit kills. So luckily I was able to escape outside the circle to be able to move and then be able to try to get, and then I think that's when I found out with the map I could just automatically warp to the rest thing, so I did that. And occasionally if it gets evening, or if you're, especially if you're driving in your car and it gets dark, like one of the characters will say, hey, we should stop and sleep. So there are ways for you to level up in that respect.
First time through here, right?
Looks it.
Alright. Okay, so I found a way through somewhere.
A dead end.
I could have sworn this was it.
Well,
Somebody, turn on a light. They won't know what hit 'em.
Here we are.
Alright, we have more monsters. Here we go. And then you can look at the upper left part of the screen and kind of talk about its weaknesses. So one of them is the spear. So I can switch to my full arms and actually fight them. The other thing is that I can use a special skill.
this one's just for you. We all good?
Better than good.
Good to go.
Alright. And the nice thing is after a battle, you kind of... Oh! Okay. Did not expect the big gigantic boulder to fall on my head and at least survive at that point. So that was quite interesting.
The generator must have died, huh?
Well, just gotta keep moving.
Ugh. Not a big fan of this. Oops, another treasure. I guess this is kind of the weird thing, like I don't know if I like the whole treasure mechanics of this game with just being like little dots on the floor. Okay, so this door got opened.
Nice! Another one.
Alright, here's one.
I think I can handle this all by myself.
Stay down!
And sometimes you can lock on to people and so you can focus on one enemy at a time.
Not good. Be nice to brighten things up in here. Well, here we are.
Nonetheless, for that.
Generator back on.
Different door, same story.
No luck here either.
Let's see, make sure boulder's not going to fall on my head this time.
Wait, hear that?
Throw some of that fire. Make more fire spells.
Nothing.
That's weird.
A goblin might jump out of the shower and
Ugliest things
nope,
I've ever
here
seen.
And even when you're battling, you can kind of notice that
bugs.
Me?
if you look at the
Yeah,
damage
can't
numbers that you're
stand 'em.
doing to the enemy,
Same here.
sometimes they're white, sometimes they're purple, sometimes they're orange. If you're fighting an enemy and it's orange, that means that you're hitting on one of the weaknesses. If it's purple, then that means that that's not a weakness. So, like sometimes if you see like one of your characters attacking with the only weapon they have, like a gun, and it's
Ooh,
purple, then
this
that
looks
means
promising.
that they can't use
Ominous
guns.
sort
So
of way. Stay sharp.
one of the nice things about Noctis is that if he's attacking and it's purple, he can switch to a different weapon to do like normal damage or even do critical damage to an enemy. Let's see, any more boulders falling on my head? Any more spiders or goblins coming out to attack me?
Okay.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big
Out
one.
of your way.
You've got my back.
Get back!
Look out. No room to swing a sword in here.
Got it!
Tonka killed.
Well, the thing you can dodge if you hold down the square button, you can actually dodge. But sometimes you'll have situations where there you go, like I just kind of automatically dodge. But then there's that where you have to kind of hold down the button to do it. Nope. Now here's the thing, I'm in danger, which means I'm not dead, but my HP is 0. So a couple things I can do. I can open up the items and use a potion to kind of heal myself. And then after everything, so you can revive some of your other players back to fall down there. The other thing you can do is use warp damage.
Right there!
I'm trying to do something and I'm not paying attention to the boss fight.
Right there!
That's that.
Oh,
It's over.
that pretty much did it.
Thought it would never
Alright,
end.
so that was fun. Alright, we got a door open here. And again, like after a battle, your health does slowly okay, if I can open that back up. So alright, looks like I'm getting to the, I don't know, I think that was the final boss or the boss of this dungeon. Which if that was the case, then that's pretty cool. I'm just trying to see if I can open up more doors so I can no, that just leads to here, so okay. You can run, and this is kind of interesting because you see a stamina bar. And one of the nice things about, and here let me actually pause it real quick. When you go to your options, there's a couple things that you can do. Change your difficulty, combat. And here's the interesting thing about combat. You have your active and you have your weight. And basically, for those of you who've played Final Fantasy, at least the majority of the Final Fantasy series has always been like a a turn-based or a wait system where you wait, you kind of make your decisions on what you're going to do, and then you go and you do it. Where active means is you're just kind of fighting in real time. So I think depending on your style, if you don't like kind of the gameplay where you're just constantly fighting and moving, and you kind of like the old way of making sure you have a battle plan or strategy, you can switch it. And the nice thing is you can kind of switch it on the fly. So let's say if there's a boss that you're having very difficulty issues with, and you really need to take your time to really strategize of how you're going to fight this boss, you can switch it over to a wait system and it will be done. And especially with the wait system, if you went back to your main menu when you look at your skill tree, when you try to develop your skills, there is a special one for wait, and you can actually increase the wait time and do all of that. The other thing that's on here is your stamina gauge, and you can turn it on or off, and I know most people want to turn it off, but I would recommend leaving the stamina gauge on because there's actually a trick to the stamina gauge. Let me back out of here. So there's this red bar, and again, like, you know, you run, and as you keep running, eventually your stamina will deplete. And here, I'll just run in a big circle around here unless a goblin comes out. So I'm kind of running in a circle. You see this gauge is going. Eventually it's going to deplete. But once it gets to the very end, if you release the stamina bar, when it gets to its very end, and you let go like that, you kind of do a little sprint and it automatically recharges. So you don't have to worry about sprint and then you get tired and you have to wait. You can actually do this technique to continue to sprint longer. And especially it's very helpful because there's a time where you have to race one of your friends in like some type of like mini game thing, and you can actually beat them by basically beat them by doing that strategy. So I guess that's kind of a spoiler, but I thought, you know, that's something that happens. I think that happens in chapter 1 when you're just still trying to learn the mechanics of everything. Ooh.
That's weird.
The hell?
Uh-oh. You guys see something? Alright. Oh, here we go. Well, it looks like I found Royal Tomb.
So Noct borrows the old king's powers.
Alright. And I'm going to go ahead and end it here because, again, I don't want to spoil too much of the story for you guys. But again, that's just kind of a little playthrough, my first impressions. Kind of showed you a little bit about the gameplay and what it entails. First impressions of the game, I'm really enjoying it. I like the active battle system. I know at first it was very difficult to try to get used to because, again, I'm so used to a turn-based system. And then even like with the NPC characters, like they actually are pretty well developed. I know when I played Resident Evil 5 and you had your partner with you, and sometimes that other partner being an NPC and trying to help you out was just a pain in the butt, where this seems to work pretty good. So it's really, I mean, I really enjoy this game, and I've enjoyed all the Final Fantasies. I know a lot of people have certain criticisms about, like, oh, how they didn't like 13 or they didn't really like 12. But I don't know. I think that, you know, this is a pretty good game, and I think that, you know, especially with this game being like Final Fantasy 13 Versus, originally what it was dubbed, and then they kind of took it. So, you know, think about the years of development they had to really polish it and really make a good Final Fantasy game that fans are going to love, new players are going to be able to pick up and enjoy, and mainly just overall just really it's just really a solid game so far. And I know there's some missing story elements, but I know if you got the deluxe edition of the game, it came with the Final Fantasy 15 Kingsgrave Blu-ray. So I think probably watching that kind of probably puts the story more in perspective of what's happening here. I haven't watched it yet. But again, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me questions. Even share one of your favorite Final Fantasy moments. I know Square Enix has been a lot of the promotion with this game has been people talking about their favorite Final Fantasy game, one of the great experiences that they've had with it, and so be able to share it on my page and everything else. All right. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.